We can do that now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm getting
Well,
Philip out here right now. She be out here whenever she can.
yeah, it's funny. I was talking with her earlier today, and she was just saying how she had been so busy this week. She missed her husband.
She had been busy this week.
But yeah, feel free to come on camera
He on.
if you can.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah, I'm on.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the self-care episode of the Seer Mastermind Show. Go
Yes,
ahead,
sir.
get your yawns in, stretch out. Tonight, we are checking in at the near the midway point for the first quarter of 2022. And if you're anything like us, you've been putting a lot of work and time and energy into not just achieving New Year resolutions, but full year resolutions. Okay. So I'm happy to be here with my co-founders and co-hosts, Majida, the Queen Mother Bay. What's going on with you?
I'm tired.
We gonna talk about it tonight, man. We gonna talk about that tonight for sure. And my brother Maurice, the helpful trucker, outside in the yard by the fire.
I got the bonfire going here tonight.
We outside. I see you. Tell me, man, what's it like being outside,
bro?
What is that?
Bonfire and scotch.
No.
Oh, we getting live like that. Happy hour.
And so,
Lord. Well, I got my green tea, some shrimp egg rolls, a little bit catfish bites. We inside, as you can see, comfortable. Comfortable.
You got a robe on. I'm just seeing that right now.
Comfortable tonight, you know what I'm saying? Gotta have a hoodie on it. But man, it's good to check in with you guys. Find out how the year is going so far, man. How are you tracking? What are some things you celebrated? Can we start with some wins? I definitely like to start with some wins tonight. Go ahead, Mo. You got the big news. Maybe we'll bring you up on the rear.
You bring me up on the rear or bring Majida up?
Nah. Let's lead with you. Go ahead.
Well, got some YouTube work done this week. Yeah, got some YouTube work done this week. I got a couple of I just did a little bit of research on reels.
Yeah.
Well, they call them shorts on YouTube, but on Instagram and TikTok, I believe they're reels. Reels and stories, because that's an avenue I hadn't really been doing anything with on YouTube. Yeah. But YouTube gives you the ability to upload a short, a story, a regular post like Facebook, you know what I mean? So I put up like 3 or 4 reels this week. That's pretty helpful to help me kind of get back into the flow of stuff. Got a regular video up yesterday as well. Got approved for a house this past week. That was pretty cool.
Hey.
Nice. That was pretty nice. That was unexpected. I won't say it was unexpected because I mean I knew we were looking, but like the agent was telling me today, man, you know, she's got people that she's working with that's bidding 30 and 35. It's in our price point, the same price point that we bought in, that's bidding 20 and 30 and 40,000 over asking, and the sellers holding out. It ain't like they jumping right on it. They're like, oh, we'll wait until, you know, Monday or whatever to, you know, to make sure we taking the best offer. So she said that's just ironic that the first offer that you put in, an hour later it got accepted. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was real cool, man. It just kind of reminds me of a saying that I think about, or that I have that I say to myself all the time, and I forget this a lot of the times, but I find myself saying a lot of the times, their story is not your story. Their story is not your story, right? I find myself saying that a lot in a lot of different situations. Like things could be going a certain way for everybody else and not go that way for you. And that's a double-edged sword. Like everybody else could be enjoying it, and that don't mean you gonna enjoy it. Everybody else could be hating it, and that don't mean you gonna hate it. Everybody else could be loving it, that don't mean you gonna love it. You know, that's really big in trucking, because in trucking, everybody want to know what's the magic pill. And it's like there's no one magic pill for everybody. It just don't work like that. You know, what works for one person might not necessarily work for somebody else. So definitely their story is not your story. If this goes through, if this close goes through, like I believe it is, like we're expecting that it is, I mean, it'll be a story to tell as far as I'm concerned. Like as quick as houses are going in this market, you know, for us to snatch up what we had, what it looks like we're going to have an opportunity to snatch up, you know, it's crazy, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. The agent was telling me today, man, she said without the escalation clause that we put in there, y'all would have lost this house over about $2,000. Y'all could have lost this house about $2,000 if she had to
Wow.
put the escalation clause in there. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's cool, man. It was cool. Went to see the house today. I hadn't seen it, but you know, I felt confident enough that Yasmin, just from going to see houses with her, seeing how she go in the house, she go into a mood when she go in these houses, man, for real. Like she knows stuff I
Tell
don't
about
know.
it.
We already
Talk
do that.
about it. Talk about it.
She go into a mode when she go in these houses, yo. She just go. She in the corners. She in the basement. She in the this. She popping out different terms of stuff that I don't know, and and just kind of seeing that, you know, how she is doing that, and then knowing that she knows what we're looking for, and then going back to Yashaya, having Yashaya's intuition. I felt real comfortable when Yasmin, she was like, "Hey, Yashaya, like this one." Yeah, I think this is the one. I'm like, I don't even need to see it. I'll go say I wouldn't see it for the first time today, but I'm like, babe, if you think this is the one, go ahead, do it. Go ahead and put an offer in on it. So yeah, I felt real confident with her judgment in that. So yeah, man, it was cool, man. It's a cool experience so far. Looking forward to it. Definitely excited about it. I'm happy I saw what I saw today.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful. That teamwork, partnership, everybody understanding their role. You know, that's huge. That's huge. Congratulations on that, man. I love how your 12-year-old also involved in the decision making.
100%. Absolutely. I really value her opinion. I told her that. I told her that when we went to see a house a couple of weeks ago, like a week and a half ago. Like she was
Uh-huh.
one of the first things I did. Like, yo, Yasha, what do you think about this? Like she's intuitive, man. I value her opinion. I really do. I tell her that all the time, but I don't think she really know that. But I really do value her opinion.
It'll resonate with her as she gets older.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
She'll remember those words.
good stuff. Good stuff.
Looking forward to getting the dog now, man.
All right, stepping it up.
Yeah, we definitely gonna get a dog. We've been talking about that for the last year. As soon as we get a spot to get a dog, we got to get a dog, man. So yeah, so it will be hypoallergenic though, definitely.
Good news. Well, looking forward to meeting a new addition as you make these transitions and moves this year. That's really exciting news. Really exciting. How about you, sis?
Whew.
What's happening?
So officially got my license. Well, they sent it to me like digitally. So I am now a licensed Class A general contractor.
Let's go.
Now hold on, and let me just clarify. Nothing else happened. Like you'd already passed your test, right?
I passed the test, but I followed up with the person with DPOR who was assigned. I was like, hey, I passed my test on the 20. I told him initially the 28th. Can you give me an update on the license? He's like, I'll check into it. Then I emailed him back. I'm like, correction, I passed it on the 21st. And
yeah,
I sent those emails last week. And it was approved as of 2/3 is the date of the license. So February 3rd.
Hey,
It's official now.
It's official, right? I got the letter in the mail earlier this week. I remember it been yesterday, and it was like, due to supply chain shortages, we were unable to print your license. So this letter will serve as that until. I was like, ain't this some nonsense?
So you was.
I got a digital copy, and I was like, what they do? Print it on gold? Like, I don't understand.
Wouldn't that be something, right?
Not likely.
So what is that gonna? What new doors is that open for you, man? Because that.
As many doors as I knock on.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Door knocker number one. Gotta get you some big earrings
Oh,
or something. You know what I'm saying? We knock you. But tell us a little bit about, because that's really huge, and I know that from a DEI, a diversity, equity, inclusion standpoint, you may not be thinking of that, but I know that that's really one of your motivations in the industry of construction. Who you represent, what you represent, the communities of people you can advocate for. So what do you see? Share a little bit of the story that you're writing with our audience tonight. Becoming a licensed Class A. I know A usually top of the class, as far as I know. You know what I'm saying? She ain't unless they got an S class or a double S, a triple. I looked at the DPO A page or whatever. I saw E, D, C, R. Right. Yeah, that ain't my field. So
this is just A, B, and C. A, B, and C.
Okay.
So
how you get Class A status?
It requires some work, level of commitment. I gotta be careful because some of my current coworkers be like, "Yeah, I be seeing you." Like they watch, they catch.
Hey y'all, I'm my brother. Y'all, what's up?
But it's all good. No, I just want to create more opportunities, not just for myself but for others. So, like it can't hurt. I'm looking at things differently now. Before I was not really interested in putting letters behind my name and getting certifications and like doing a bunch of paperwork for the sake of paperwork. But like you said, it can open certain doors. It can be a pathway for other people. And so yeah, I'm really looking at it like that, like just positioning myself, to be the bridge, right? Like that's really the way I consider it. I'm a bridge to help people get to the other side, because I've gone through the process. I understand what it takes, what's required. So if there's other people who I come across who are looking to do that, I can assist them in some way. I can be a reference for them. Shout out to the individual who helped me get licensed, because I had to have somebody who was already licensed refer me to be licensed.
Man,
just to submit the application, So shout out to him. And it just really taught me the value of network, of the value of relationships, like how you treat people, because like not anybody's gonna do that for you. People could perceive that you are trying to compete or like whatever the case may be, and I ain't even on that. But yeah, I'm really looking at what I'm doing as a bridge to be able to look at the future of the industry, of my industry, and see how I can position myself to add value to it. Like that's really all it is. I told my president where I currently work, some years ago, that like I'm just a person that like has to grow, like I gotta be in a position to where like, and so like this is another level of growth for me. It's a new challenge. So I'm looking forward to that and just enjoying the journey. What are you doing, Bakar? You like
sorry,
you're playing like what is it? Visual footsies. Like that's what it looks like.
No, there was somebody in the room.
I see that.
I was trying to send him a hit. I was on the call right here, but it's all good. But no, that's huge. That's huge news. And like I said, at this point in the year, I think it really creating some momentum. Like, wouldn't you agree? Really creating some momentum for what the rest of the year is going to look like for you. So I often think of these quarters each year, right, as a full year. Especially if you're familiar with the 12-week year strategy, and it can really be taxing on you. So we're going to dive into that conversation a little bit tonight as we're talking about, self-care. How do you recharge? Are you recharged? You're constantly running on empty. But before that, let me reset the room. So for those that are just joining us, welcome. This is the Seer Mastermind Group here with Maurice Bay, Majida, myself, Coach Bakar. And this is our story, our journey, our way. Right. And I love what Maurice said earlier, so their story isn't necessarily your story. Right. I think that's huge because we are really focused on writing our own stories, celebrating our journey, which we're, a little over 2 years in since we first got together.
Mm-hmm.
Right. A little over 2 years in and hearing, some of the growth and progress. Like they say, we often overestimate what we could do in 1 year and underestimate what we could do in 10. And so, one of my wins actually was just writing out a new 10-year plan for myself and sharing it with my accountability partners and teams.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, and I was wondering about that.
Well, I take it back a couple of weeks ago. Started working with a guy who I'm coaching and shared with me, man, his goal is to earn 100 billion. And I was like, man, my goal is to make like 4 billion a year. So if I can coach somebody to it, odds are 4% ain't gonna be ain't far off. I'm sure my fee gonna be a little more than 4% if I'm still working with him when he get there, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, but it got me thinking, right? Especially in the last couple of years, being more accountable, being more intentional. I started looking up, okay, he had a specific approach. Is it realistic? I went into like engineer mode. What is it? Like I started working backwards. Is it even realistic? Are there people making 100 billion in the world? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good to know. How many? Oh, there's quite a few. They at the top of the food chain when it comes to billionaires. Oh, there's a list of it. And then I started discovering, I started talking with you guys about this last time. But I mean, last year, 2021 saw a record number of new billionaires added to the list. Added to Forbes, 660. So 32% increase. For reference point, the last decade before that only saw the numbers double in a decade. Mm-hmm. From about 1,000 billionaires to 2,000. This past year, 660 new billionaires added to the list. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is my decade. That's the way I saw it. Oh, man, the word is out. Somebody done figured out some new information and it's reaching. So now, granted, the pandemic has something to do with it. Definitely impacted. Quite a few people got wealthy in the medical field, but also in the digital currency and financial fields as well. So 2 top fields where people are gaining information. And I just began doing more and more research. And I've been really becoming obsessed with it, with transforming into a new identity. And so every week I have a check-in like this. On my recharge day, on my rest day, on my holy day, Friday, I check in and recharge with my new identity. What am I doing in that identity to grow myself? And man, I got into a space of prayer and a plan just came out. It just started working itself out. I realized, so one of the key things I realized is I was looking at my different streams of income right now. I realized some of the things I'm doing today have a realistic market cap on it. And it's so critical. It's so crucial to do the math, right? I was like, okay, if I want to earn 4 billion a year, what is that a day? It's about 11 million a day. I said, I got to think about my life differently. Because I'm not scratching 11 million a day right now. Like, not even close. I'm measuring by the year right now. I ain't even, like, how much am I earning on the yearly? I got to shrink that down 365 units and then multiply it by a couple factors as well. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we got to look at this thing differently. And so I started thinking about, okay, what gifts am I working in? I know this ain't really the conversation. We're gonna get into the self-care, I promise you.
It's all
Definitely
good.
stay tuned. We stay tuned to that. But I'm a little excited because as the plan started, I set aside a short-term plan, 1 to 3 years, for potential earnings, right? What are the vehicles that I'm working in currently over the next 1 to 3 years? What is their market potential? Right. And I got to about 2 million. I could probably make it comfortably to about 2 million in the vehicles that I'm already driving. Okay, so in the midterm, 3 to 5 years, what's that going to look like? Where can I go? Where can I grow? Right. And then over 5 to 10 years, the long term, what's it going to take to hit a million? What's currently producing in the millions that aligns with my current skill set? And I know for some people, it's just like, whoa, I can't even think out that far. Like I'm thinking about tomorrow. It's exhausting to envision your life that far, especially with like detail, with accountability, with like, oh, these aren't things I'm just saying, but these are things that are going on my schedule. These are things that are going on my calendar. These are things that I'm going to have to draw and attract a bunch more people to get accomplished. These are things that's going to require a lot of energy. And if I just sat around with all that energy in my head, I'd be burnt out just thinking about it. Just thinking about what I have to do. Because if I could see it, 10 years, that's 3,000 days worth of work. I'm not going to count the hours or the minutes or the seconds. Okay. Just imagine working out for any amount of minutes and compounding that 3,000 times. If somebody put that in front of you, you'd be like, oh no, I don't know. Most people, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But this billionaire journey, right? And I'm becoming even more confident just talking about it. Like I couldn't care less who believes in me or not. Right. But I am gonna be mindful about who I share it with. Right. Because that energy has to continue to grow and to blossom and be fed. But no, it was really exciting just laying out that plan, sharing it with my different accountability teams, and recognizing the right pieces are coming into place, right? So that was one of the wins for the day, and I almost didn't finish writing it out. I started to get a little fatigued toward the end. I got a little distracted, I was getting excited, almost squirreled away from it, and I heard a voice inside say, "Complete the assignment." And I share this often with my accountability team and how it's so important to be obedient to your creator's instructions, right? To learn how to hear. I almost was like, oh yeah, like I could push this aside and finish it another time. He was like, complete the assignment. You haven't finished the work. Mm-hmm. You got started, you got excited, you got in the middle, and you felt accomplished, but you didn't finish the work. And it wasn't until I finished the work that I saw the full plan coming into fruition. I was like, oh, I need to do these specific things in these areas, like these characters, like a Tony Robbins, like a Warren Buffett, and a few others up there on the list, right? But who have partnerships with groups of people. Their name or their face might be on it, but they've got partnerships with groups of people where they made those kind of realities. Now, Tony ain't quite hit billion, but in one of my gifts, personal development, Tony's he's near the top. He's up there. Not a whole lot of people with a net worth closer. Valued at 600 million. I said, okay, what's it going to take to bring Tony out of, the Tony out of me? So, and like I was saying, that kind of information, just seeing it down on paper or keeping it in your head can be really exhausting. And so as we, halfway through the first quarter, a tick into a 10-year strategy, or your year. I mean, I wanted to bring to the forefront like how important it is to have like rest, recovery, recharging built in, so that you don't burn out and turn what's the word I'm looking for? Resentful toward your gifts and your plan, right? Have you ever felt or been around people who work so hard that they resented the things they do and find themselves quitting on their gifts or their dreams?
Mm-hmm. You're muted, bro.
What do you mean by resenting the things that they?
I mean,
What do you mean by that?
like maybe loved it at one point, but the love for it was gone because of the toll it took on their bodies or on their minds, right? I think about educators, people who love what they do for children, but are socially, in most places, relegated to poverty if they only stick with doing work in their field. That in few areas are earning enough to really, again, with teaching alone, right? And I can relate to that because I'm in that space. But who pours so much into like the next generation, year after year after year after year, but on their lives really don't see a return monetarily, financially, from the work that they do. And it's like you pour all of this into what do you have to show for yourself? And what was it worth? Right? You waiting 30 years to work on your dream after you done poured into 30 years worth of people. Like, how does that balance out? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by resentful. Like, you can't wait to retire because you'd have given so many years to something or so much energy, and it hasn't given you the return that you dreamed or imagined.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna let you continue on, but I'm thinking as you're talking, there's people that feel like that about life in general. I'm thinking about mothers right now. There are a lot of mothers out here that they will feel like they've been giving so much to everybody else for
Mm-hmm.
so long. I've heard people tell stories before that it's like, yo, when I get in a position of I don't have to do for anybody else for whatever reason, I don't even know what to do with myself. I've heard mothers say that before. Like I've been doing for some
Wow.
other for so long that one day when the day came that I ain't have to do for nobody else, I didn't even know I had never. It's been so long since I thought about what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what I want at this point. So I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I guess yeah, I'm thinking about the subject that we talked about, necessary evil. I'm thinking about that subject because I don't know. Maybe that's a side effect of focus. So everybody's focused on something, but you stay focused on something for so long, and you stay focused for so long. I don't know. Maybe that's the other side of focus. Because nothing is all good. Everything you know, is potential for good and for some. Maybe that's a side effect of focus. When I focus on one thing, everything else falls out of balance.
Mm.
Mm.
And that's just
That
a maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Now, man, I want to dedicate this conversation tonight to all the mothers. All right, because I would love to be able for us to help you all tonight in any way if it comes to just being able to pour into yourself a little bit. Well, Majida, you're a mother. You have babies.
Mm.
They always want focus and attention. And if I may say, you are looking a little tired tonight. Knowing that you're busting it, so that they can have a better life. But how do you feel when it comes to rest, recharge? Are you getting enough? Are you charged up day to day, or you find that sometimes your battery's running on empty too often.
I'm transitioning out of that mentality of running on empty and going like, I kind of this year, like just within the last 5 weeks or so, recognize that like I couldn't focus on producing until I invested time in focusing on me, like doing something just for me. Because it's like I would look at my list, I was all excited. I found this productivity tracker. I was excited about, all right, I got somewhere I can download everything and, go one place and see it. I ain't got to like write it down over here and put it in my Google Calendar over there. It's all going in the productivity tracker. And then I categorize it with the tags and all of that. But the list keep getting longer. And like I've checked off a bunch of stuff. But when I looked at like everything that I've done, I'm like, what is it moving me toward? You know what I mean? Like,
Ooh.
it was just like, it's just, I mean, like they're important tasks, but
Put that on the, what is it moving me toward? What are you moving toward, man? Jeez, we've been talking about that all week.
So I don't know if it was a combination of just it was a couple things. So the 1st of February, I joined the 7-day fruit and veggie challenge with Coach Rochelle T. Parks. She's phenomenal. I just love who she is and how she shows up. Because she's somebody I admire, kind of from a distance. Like I'm kind of in the background, but like I just love how she shows up because like she's energized about what she's doing. Like when you see her, she believes in what she's doing. Like she's walking in her purpose. I'm like, that's what living looks like. Like I want to live. Bump work, eat, work, home, sleep. Work, eat, work, home. Like, I'm tired of that.
I'm sorry. All my One Piece fans know that I want to live line. That's a huge one in for my One Piece community. But go ahead. Side conversation, sidebar.
So I had to, I was just like, I'm going to jump on. I've done it once before and love the results, but didn't necessarily like look to take the next step, and so after doing the challenge this time, like it was enjoyable. Just focusing on, for 7 days, like doing something intentionally for myself, wasn't work related, children related, and it's something as simple as this, right? I put my children in extracurricular activities. I spend more money on my children than I do on myself.
Bro.
On a consistent basis. Right now, I value their education. I value their experiences and their future. But it's like I invest in personal development for myself, but I'm not spending what I'm spending for gymnastics. I promise you.
Talk about it.
So it's like I gotta make some adjustments. I gotta be like, if I'm gonna spend a few hundred a month on them, and it's something that they enjoy doing, right? Well, we don't know so much yet about the 3-year-old. She's questionable at this point. She might be coming out of gymnastics. We have to find something else for her. But
soccer and dance. Let me
just
tell you,
exactly.
That baby needs soccer and a little bachata. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you. But yeah, it was recognizing like if I can invest that for them, I invest in like personal development and coaching, right? But it's typically focused on like business, like, oh, you gotta produce. Look, I'm gonna produce naturally, like I was created to produce. You know what I mean? Like
I'm a proclaim that belief too. I'm a produce naturally. I like that. Drop that in the chat.
So that being said, it's just like I don't necessarily need to focus on producing as much as I need to focus on myself. If I focus my energy on like feeding me, pouring into me, then that's just going to allow me to, like you said, you can't pour from an empty cup. So like I gotta fill my cup up. And so after the 7-day fruit and veggie challenge, I was able to release 9 pounds in 7 days. But in addition to that, I decided to sign up for Coach Rose Sugar Ain't Sweet program. And
taking the next step.
Yeah, like it's just like it's intense. I promise you. I just read the guidelines and I was like, what did I get myself into? Like it was too late, it's like I already paid the money. I guess that, but it's recognizing that like I'm worth it, like I'm worth the investment. And to the point where if I need to make some changes in order for me to complete that program, like that's what I need to do. Like I even asked my grandma tonight, like, hey, I need some help, like even like if I could just bring the children there at night to rest, right? Like they rest here, when they get out of school, or like I take them to her house, because from the time they get home to like the time they get to bed, like it drains me. So then I don't have the energy to invest in the things that I want to do to move forward. And like I'm not on like I gotta hit this certain schedule, but I do need to like have consistency. And so I gotta start with consistency with me. If I consistently do certain things for myself, that will translate into me consistently, setting certain disciplines up at home. Like I have done some things, I have this magnet calendar now and magnet chore list. It's not really so much chores as it is like tasks, but my 7-year-old is enjoying checking off, right? But I put some of my like one of the things I have to do is my bare minimum workout. So when I accomplish, my 50 squats, 50 leg lifts, and 50 jumping jacks, I get to check it off.
Show off now.
I'm hurting right now. I'm a little sore.
Well, that's why she's tired. Her body's overworking.
Well, I've been up since 2:30 this morning too. Yeah. And I got my workout in. I got some work done. Went to work today. Took my daughter to practice. Helped a family member with some life insurance protection. Amen for that. And that wasn't even planned. I was just at my grandma's house. Somebody called her and she had asked me actually about a week ago to get a quote for this individual. And I was there and I was like, let me check it out. Oh, you can do that? You can do that? All right, cool. Let's go ahead and do the application. Got that jam.
Wow.
Just, like being in position. Like I love being in position to serve. But I'm recognizing that like I said, you can't pour from an empty cup. So the next starting Monday, the 45 days is going to be focused on pouring into me so that I can intentionally pour into others, right? Like I can fill me up, like, yo, because I felt better just in the last week, exercising first thing in the morning, drinking my water throughout the day, eating foods that, give me energy. And like I've been like on average, like you can check my phone, my sleep is like 4 hours on average, but most days like I'm good because I've been eating the right foods that, keep me energized. But yeah, last night I rested well, but like I said, I've been up since 2:30 and I've been going and driving all over the place and dancing to Encanto with my 3-year-old.
We don't talk about Bruno. No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome back, Maurice. No, and my G, to believe it or not, man, like so much of what you shared are really common themes among the men and women that I come across in my coaching. Majority of my clients are older than me, who've been working for so many years. And like you said, just investing in so many other spaces and overlooking themselves. So Peter Drucker, he's a management guru of some sort. He said, tell me what you value and I might believe you, but show me your calendar and your bank statement.
Yep.
And I'll show you what you really value, right? Show you what really counts. and I share that with my clients, and a lot of things like what you just said begin to come out. I invest more in my children than I do myself. And that's another question to ask, like, how much how do you normally invest? Or what's the most that you've invested in yourself? And a lot of people are unfamiliar with the question.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, like, am I speaking a different language? No. Oh, but it's a foreign concept to, like you said, fill your cup. And no, it's just like, if everybody's drawing from my well, where's my water coming from?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
You know? and I like this conversation. It's not something that just happens once. It's something that people run into daily. It's a wall that people hit daily, weekly, monthly. Like, oh man, I had a dream, but then I just got burnt out and I ain't had nothing left to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many people's dreams have been put on hold because they just ran out of energy because they didn't prioritize themselves in the process?
Yep. And to that point, and then I want to definitely hear from Maurice. When I see Coach Rowe at 51 years old killing it, right? Like, it ain't just the arms, yo. The energy.
Yeah, like
I'm like, that's living. You know what I mean?
Sis is ripped, okay?
That's living. Like, that's life. It's not working, paying bills, and dying. You know, like, it's more to life than that. Like, you can actually live life, you know, not just be a pawn on somebody else's chessboard, you know. So
and as our good friend says, you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone. And I think about, again, Maurice's story from the beginning and how having somebody in your corner, right? And this ain't a promo for Majida, right? This is some stringent criteria to go, you want to mess with this queen, all right? Stringent. You got to come through us. But you know, but just having a partner there, Maurice, who you can trust to make decisions and can free you to keep doing what you do best for your family, for your future, for your legacy. And the same on my end, man. I'm excited because things are coming together even in my own relationship this year. And after I shared, you know, my 10-year plan with my partner, I found out that my short term is like her long term. All right. What I'm looking at for 1 to 3 years, she's looking at 1 to 3 months. Right. Not for me, but for her. Her short term for her is like 1 to 3 months. Like, that's the short term. Like, that's the stuff that I can get done right now. For me, it's just like, I'm steady growing in these different, like, because there's so much, there's this huge general field and direction that I'm covering or I'm plowing, right? And she just like, I got the line where I got one line. And that's all I'm focused on, right? I'm talking about focus. But in the same token, because, you know, almost like a rabbit, she's always crushing tasks. It's like, when do I have to take time for me? And so, like, being able to be that support for her to take a few things off her plate and write her into, like, she even said to me, like, I don't have no goals. And she does, right? But in the scheme of where she views it, it's just like, these are just the things that must get done. I don't have time to plan out these next things. It's just, this is what I want to do, and then I start doing it. Plan or no, right? The plan is get it done. Like, that's the plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some people out there, and if you like that, definitely chime in the chat. Are you just the type of person who gets it done and don't care about what amount of energy and effort it takes to get there? What are you sacrificing in the process? Who are you becoming in the process? Are you becoming somebody who resents the work but loves the result? Are you becoming somebody who's quitting on a dream because you can't see it being done in the time it takes to get certain things like they do? As I was reading about billionaires, the average billionaire takes about 18 years previously. The average has come down to about 13. I said, oh yeah, that's in range. You know what I'm saying? That's in range. Like I got 13 good years I could put toward it. Let's shrink it to 10 because we just had a record year. So some new information is out there. You know what I'm saying? Can we shrink it down a little bit? This is in range. 10 years ago, it wasn't in range. Not where I was, not how I was thinking, not with the level of awareness, of accountability, of self-care. Like, not with everything I developed into over the last 10 years. It wasn't in range in my vision. Maybe I hinted at it, touched at it, right? But one thing that became critically important over the last 5 years for me is I got to look after me first. Because nothing else is going to come into my legacy if I'm not there for it. Maurice, sorry, I'm fired up tonight, man. I've been charging up all day for this combo.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I just, as y'all were talking, there's two things that popped into my mind, and then I'll kind of chime back out and let y'all continue. One thing I'm thinking about as y'all are talking, is a word that everybody is taught is evil and bad, and you shouldn't be this word. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
It seems to me like if you want to get it done, one thing is you're going to have an individual is going to have to be selfish, right? But selfish is I mean, I don't know. Again, maybe. I mean, this is life, man. And life, we like to try to put life into this bucket or this bucket or this category or black or white. But a lot of life is gray. It really is, man. A lot of life is in the gray area, So,
you see like the decor around me? It's all gray around me. Got 50 shades over here.
We're taught not to be selfish for good reason. We should serve others, absolutely. But again, there are those that have been so programmed to serve others that they forget to serve themselves, right? So selfishness seems to be a bit of it anyway, seems to be something that's required. Like, I got to stay focused on what I believe to be important. Just like what you said a minute ago, Bakar, you have a dream in your mind, and in your mind, that dream.
No. It's a vision. I'm sorry. It's a difference. I'm going to make the distinction.
But your mind, that is going to help a lot of people. But
absolutely,
none of those people that it's going to help may believe in that. They believe it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is, right? But it's going to require selfishness on the part of the visionary to bring that vision to fruition, because everybody is what's the word I'm looking for, is selfishly oriented. Everybody is thinking about themselves. Everybody is thinking about what they have to do, what's important to them. So, right. like if we got a big vision, then we got to be prepared for other people around us to not see that vision. And we got to be selfish enough to still say, you know what, I'm going to pour time into this, because everybody else around you, or everybody else around the person that has the vision, is going to be finding other things for that individual to do. Everybody around the visionary is going to be like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should try that. Maybe you should help me with this. Maybe you should help me with that. Everybody around you, everybody around the visionary is probably gonna be taking that approach. So the visionary, if he's going to bring his vision to fulfillment, got to be selfish. Got to be able to, right? And not feel too bad about it either. Like, one of the worst things we can do is be at work thinking about home, and be at home thinking about work.
Yes,
sir. You say no, and when you say no to people that you love, that you kind of feel obligated to anyway, in the name of conserving time to put into your vision, like, it's gonna mess with you. It can mess with anybody. That's one of the things that make people quit on their vision. Absolutely. So that's the first thing I'm thinking about, being selfish, right? And the next thing I'm thinking about as y'all are talking is the ability to get it done, whatever that is for an individual, to get it done by any means necessary. right? Like when I say that phrase, I know we all think about the person who said it, Malcolm X, but we hear a lot of our financial gurus and our success gurus talk about, like, you got to be willing to do it at any means, by any means necessary. Like, that is a tall order. I think a lot of people use a phrase like that without really understanding what they're saying. Like, by any means necessary means by any means necessary. What that means is, if I think it's going to take 5 and it take 20, then if I say I want it to happen, I got to be willing to put in the 20. Like, I
Yeah.
can't give up after 5 just because I thought it was going to happen at 5 and it didn't happen. I got to be willing to put in the 20. And it's 40. It may take 40. It may take 60. Right? Like, is what you want that important to you to hold on to it that long? Some people talk about that as well. Like, hold the ability to hold on to a vision until it manifests. So I'm thinking about all of that stuff as y'all are talking. Those are all of the points that's popping up in my, but the interesting thing is, I mean, like I said, that's the reason why I say, my perspective is life is, not just black and white. It is gray. I'm not saying that's being selfish is good and being unselfish or being unselfish is good. I'm saying that we need to be unselfish because we need to serve others. How else are we gonna bring things into our life? But on the same note, we got to be selfish as well, because if we don't, our dream, nobody's gonna put life into your dream. You're gonna have to put life into your dream. So it's like this dance between between black and white. It's a lot of gray area in there. So yeah, I'm just thinking about all of that as y'all are talking.
And I think, to just piggyback on that, like, it is a difficult decision, especially when you're someone who's used to supporting others and used to serving others, to draw that line and say, you know what, in this season, I need to take a step away from focusing on serving others so I can focus on what I'm called to do and focus on what
growing me.
Yeah, like I said, it's still, kind of back to the idea that you can't pour from an empty cup. So, like, if I'm constantly pouring into others, supporting others, and I'm not pouring into me, or no one's pouring into me, then, like, what really am I offering? What am I providing with the service that I give, So yeah, I think it's critically important to, like, self-assess and understand, like, when there's a time to be selfish. Like I was sharing with a coworker today, I was just like, I think, like, I might need to take 2 months off of being a mother, right? Like, legit, just
That's not what I thought you were gonna say. She said, I'm about to take a maternal sabbatical. Okay. Somebody take these kids. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the mothers that feel that way, that are like, yes, sis, at home right now.
Well, I mean, and
the ones that feel that way and scared to say it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
be their voice tonight.
No, for sure. Like, I made a decision, and, like, really, all of what we're talking about really comes to that, like, making a decision. I made a decision, but even before I had children, that, like, I would not allow my children. I wasn't going to sacrifice my life for the life of my children. I will sacrifice for them, but I won't sacrifice myself. And so, to that point, like, I used to hear a lot when my daughters were younger, or my oldest was younger specifically, that, like, you need to spend more time with her, and you're doing too much. But, like, she would go where I would go. Look, this is what I'm doing. My schedule ain't fitting to revolve around you. Period, point blank. Like, yeah, I don't know how I got to that point where it does now. So, like, I had to, like, reassess, like, hold on, wait a minute. You taking up too much of my time. It's like a part-time job chauffeuring you around. So, kind of taking a step back, like, all right, I want her to continue in what she's doing. I want to continue to support that. However, it's taking time away from things that I could be achieving as well. So
send her to Houston. Let her train with Miss Biles. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a gymnast? Go be around gymnasts. Okay, go be around the best. Bye. I'll see you in 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Like I joked with him the other day. I was like, I said when they get old enough to stay home by themselves, I was gonna send them to boarding school. Like y'all ain't fitting it, like because some parents think that all right, once they get to a certain age, I ain't gotta. But then she be watching videos from Darman. She loved Darman videos, and
I don't know what that is.
He's a YouTube creator. Yeah.
Okay.
But so his videos, they teach different lessons about different things, cheating and relationships and like all of these different relational dynamics she's learning about.
Hold on.
What?
You say he teaches about relationships and she likes him?
Yeah. It's not like like
I'm gonna talk to my niece.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to my niece.
So like y'all gotta check him out. Like his videos are very like PG, but it'll be like popular girl embarrasses nerd, or something like that. But then there's always a lesson at the end. Like we're not just telling stories, we're changing lives. Like that's his tagline. And so it'll be something like that. Or this guy is dating this girl and then he cheats on her with another girl. So she's learning about these different like real life examples of people in relationships. Or
I'm gonna have to check out this dude, find out who programming my niece.
But a mother raising, a dad who left his family because his son was autistic, and
wow.
Like all of these different, and then the son grows up, and the dad had went and found another wife, had another son, and it's showing how like the different dynamics or how people show up. Or something as simple as like what happens in the dark always comes to the light. Like he teaches stuff like that, and she likes that stuff. I was like, cool, because she found it on her own. And I was like, I support it. You can watch Darman. And so, but to that point, it's just like recognizing that. Oh, she was watching some video, and it's like some teenagers throwing a party at the house while the parents weren't there, and that's where I came up with the boarding school thing. Like, don't even think you gonna do anything at my house while I ain't there. I will send you to boarding school before you have the thought to do, so that's where that came from. But it's the idea that like I gotta invest time in me, and they like children are resilient and they're a lot more flexible than we are.
Extremely.
That's my saving grace right there. I'm sorry, we both cut in like
I totally agree with that. I talked to Yasmin about that all the time.
For everybody, put that in the for everybody who's wondering about how much they need to pour into their children. I promise you, we all like I don't think any of us got a whole lot of attention from our parents growing up. Like we got some instruction for sure. But like hugs and like nah. We made it here with each other. You feel me?
Well, I think what
if you think your child needs too much attention, have another one. With help. I'm not saying on your own. Please, mothers, stop doing it alone. Like I understand you gotta do what you gotta do, right? These brothers out here treacherous some days. Men, get it together, help your wives, help your women, take care of your children. Please stop leaving these women to do it alone. And to the single fathers as well, man. We understand.
But what I was saying about
go ahead.
Resilient children is the idea that like what they see you do, they'll learn so much more from than what you tell them.
Yeah.
And so, like honestly, like this, I'm becoming better because of my children. Like I recognized when my daughter was 3 that she had a competitive nature. So it's just like, oh, let me see what I can, and then I found an opportunity to put her in gymnastics, and it just, has blossomed. But I was joking with one of her coaches the other day at practice, because I had went for a walk while they were at practice. Both children were at practice at this time. I went for a walk and came back. And when I got back, they were helping the baby get her clothes and stuff back on. And I was I was explaining to my 3-year-old that, like, yeah, I had to exercise. She was like, where'd you, like, she not shit to question me. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I went for a walk. I had to exercise. Y'all can't be more fit than me. Cause it's like, I can't teach you something that I'm not doing myself.
Oh man.
And she's been in gymnastics for 4 years, and I'm just getting to the point where, like, I've dabbled and done a little exercise here and there, but like, she consistent 3 days a week, 3 hours per practice, and in between practices, she always doing something. So like, she's always encouraging me to exercise, but I'm like, I'm tired. I can't, no more excuses. I gotta figure it out. If she can practice for 3 hours, I can find 45 minutes a day, twice a day, to practice, or, to exercise, or to do something for me. If she doing it, why not me? And she go to school every day, and then go to practice and do her homework. What's my excuse? You know what I mean? Like, I can't be a hypocrite to the children that, like, they watching me. So what I eat, they watching me eat. And so as I'm eating better. My 7-year-old yesterday asked me for avocado for lunch because I had it for dinner last night. So like, what was my friend Marie? You mentioned her earlier. She said, "Let them catch you doing good,
doing good, doing
right?
the
Like
right
doing
things.
those
For sure.
right things. Yeah, reading, or exercising, and like, you won't have to tell them to do anything. They're gonna do what they see you do."
But I got a question for you, Margita.
What up?
And I mean, it's
I have so
I'm not
many
going.
comments. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that word. It's actually not a question. It's a question comment. It's more of a comment. Okay. And I want to kind of go back to the subject matter of the show, which is kind of like self-care, right?
Yeah.
So like piggybacking on, I want you to continue talking, right? So piggybacking on what you just now was talking about. I think for a lot of us, for a lot of people, when I say us, I mean me and you, Bakar, people like us, right? People in general. That is what you just now laid out is in some cases the work slash uh regimen that some people feel that they need a break from. So on this show, we was kind of talking about self-care, right? And you're on a person being on the grind all the time and needing to conduct yourself in a way so that you don't burn out, right? So what you were talking about just now, the way that I look at all of that is just for lack of a better word, I'm gonna call it necessary pressure, right? Like you said, your children, you didn't say the word pressure, but like, it's pressure for you to perform better for the sake of your children, right? But I think, like I said, going back to the subject matter of the show, like, okay, if that what you just laid out, that just that routine of having to the pressure of somebody is always watching. So I gotta always perform at a certain level. That that's what keeps us going. We will acknowledge that, but that I would say that's also some of what puts the pressure on us to make us feel like, yo, I'm about to burn out.
Yes.
So I want you to continue talking, but I want you to kind of give the flip side of what you're talking about. Because what you're talking about right now is the getting it done side. That's the mode that we're in most of the time. But sometimes we get exhausted and we don't feel like being in that mode. I do anyway.
Well,
Majida, and if you about to bring in a diss, like, go off, okay?
No, I'll let you take that part. I was just going to say that the accountability that I receive from my children, for me, is fuel, right? Like, it's the fuel to, like, not just pursue a goal or to grind or to hustle or to like it ain't even all of that. It's about how can I do this? How can I model this in a way that's healthy, that I'm able to thrive, and they can see, you know, like right now, my daughter has this perception that I work all the time. Like that's how my 7-year-old sees me. I work all the time. Like I go to work, I come home, I work. When she at practice, I'm working. Like it's in her mind, like I work too much. Like that's the way she perceives me right now, is I work too much. And so she knows at 7 that I need to let something go.
Ooh.
And like slowly but surely, I've been, you know, setting things to the side, you know, kind of taking a step back from different areas. But recognizing that like that's what she's seeing, and that's not what I want to model. So like part of some of the steps that I'm taking is to allow me to transition to where I can better control my time so that she can then see. And I said this, you know, some time ago, I don't know if it was on one of the shows or not, but like the employee versus entrepreneur journey, I became more of an entrepreneur so that my daughters would have another example of what options they had available to them. I'm not knocking the employee whatsoever, right? Like I think there are some great people who add value to organizations and they're in the right positions. However, I want to be able to show my children another option, right? Hey, you can do either one. It doesn't mean one's good or bad, right? I'm just maybe at a point now where I'm recognizing that like maybe I can't grow anymore in the employee role. So I got to shift to being more of an entrepreneur. And so as an entrepreneur, yes, I control my time better, and maybe I still work a lot, but maybe she sees that I get to set my own schedule, right? I can be present with my children when they're engaged in their activities or when they're talking with me or when they come home from school and they need help with their homework. And while they're at school, maybe that's when I'm resting because I'm staying up at night while they're resting so that I can get work done, you know, but like I can have better control of my schedule when I'm not being pulled in 50 different directions. And so, yeah, like it's really to me all about like modeling, right? But the focus on my personal health and well-being and fitness and nutrition and all of that is to ensure that I have the energy to do what it is I'm already doing, but doing at an insufficient level, right? Like I'm burned out because I don't have the energy, and I don't have the energy because I'm not giving my body the fuel that it needs. So like I need to reverse engineer, put the right fuel in the tank so that I can drive the car as
Yes.
fast as I want to drive it.
You know it. Hit them turns how you want to hit them. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Yes, ma'am.
so yeah, so like that's the shift for me right now. It's like I've been able to operate at a certain level on 83. I think that's the lowest, or 87. It's 87 octane.
87.
Yeah.
87.
So I've been able to operate, you know, semi-effectively on 87 octane and get to this point. But what if I can put 93 in the tank?
Now we talking.
And change the vehicle that I'm driving, right? Because the job is just the vehicle. Change the vehicle that I'm driving, put better gas in the car, right? And then have a clearer picture, GPS of where it is that I'm going, you know? Because I'll be honest, like it's just been within the last couple of years that like I created a new destination since I was 21, right? Like the destination up until age 21 was a college degree. And I had that 16 years ago. So 16 years ago, I haven't created a new destination. I've just been drifting to this point. Now I'm at this point, like, all right, now, you know, like I've experienced some things, I've done some things, I've added some passengers to the ride, you know. And then it's like, all right, what's the new destination? You know, rerouting to a new point that I've set, that I'm clear on, because that destination was more or less set for me.
I got you.
I get to set a new destination. I get to determine how I drive and what I drive and how I drive it.
I
Yeah,
got you.
and most
Bakar,
importantly,
well,
what kind of fuel?
hold on, Bakar. I want you to
I
talk
don't
on
want
that.
I don't want to lose that point. She talked
Well, I
about
want to
like
ask you
the
the
answer
question.
to your question was putting the right fuel in her tank, shifting the vehicles that she's driving and a destination. Right. That's her way of recharging herself by creating a new vision for where she's going and realizing, similar to how I shared my plan, that the vehicle that you're driving is not going to get you to that destination. You can't drive across the ocean. You got to get on a ship or a plane. You know what I'm saying, to make that bad boy. But go ahead, Maurice.
I was gonna say, man, I wanted to hear your as a coach running across people that come to you with issues of being stuck or not being able to figure it out or needing clarity or maybe even being experiencing a bit of stress or burnout. You might have some experience with people that are dealing with that. What do you say when a person comes to you, and we still kind of going on the same thing that we've been talking about, but the person's problem seems to be that they are burned out, but the things that they're burned out from are things that are necessary for them to do. Like to me, it's like it's easy to get burned out on the things that are necessary to do because we put so much emphasis on getting them done. Going back to that word focus, we put so much focus on getting those things done. And a lot of the times we focus so much in one area, other areas can we're not focusing on those areas. um so
I
like what
like
do you so like what do you so like what do you do in that situation, right? Like, like I'm under constant pressure to perform, as Majida was talking about, but that
Mhm.
is what's making me feel like I'm burned out and I need a break. How do I what's your thoughts on that?
All right. So I'm gonna start with the hard truth. And I don't usually jump right there in the conversation with people because you have to you have to build trust. And I'm gonna tell you this next thing I'm gonna say usually isn't the first thing that builds trust unless they type of person who's ready to take ownership. And that's ultimately where I want to guide someone like that, is to take ownership that where they are in their life and how they're living come from a series of choices that they make. And until they own those choices, they'll continue to look at life as if it's happening to them instead of something that they can create. But once I can shift them and empower them to see that this is what I created and that I can create something different from here forward, that's where the real work begins. So that's the aim when I'm coaching somebody, is to get them to first take ownership. That's the big deal. But taking a step back, because I just had this conversation a couple of weeks ago with my new friend Bridget. Shout out to Morning Soul Shine podcast. But we talked about, man, different ways that people get stuck in their lives, and I see this all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. One of the things that you mentioned, Maurice, is there's certain types of people who are just focused on getting results, on getting things done, but they don't take into account the amount of resources that they use naturally, right? It's like somebody, they got all of the decorations in their front lawn for the holidays, but they ain't thinking about the electric bill.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Like,
great
oh man,
analogy.
you got the biggest display. Like, oh man, he getting done. He got results. But then, 2-3 months down, the lights are off because all they were focusing
And
on
they
were
couldn't
the
figure out
results,
why.
and they couldn't figure it out.
Hell is my
Why
lights doing on?
why is it so big? Why is my bill so high?
Yeah.
Because they're not managing their resources really well. And oh man, like the timing of this couldn't be great. So we'll be talking about this next week. Like, not just tap it into, but like managing your resources. And so that's one of the key things that I teach in my coaching, is helping people to understand all the natural and intellectual resources that are available to them. That life is a resource management system. It's the energy, everything that's in the universe is already here. It's already here. It's just changing form. From the speech that we're using to the electrical signals that are firing off to make sure that they can see me, like
to all of the resources that we need
it's
to build a house for the last 2,000 years.
everything
Yeah,
is
it's not being
already here for us.
shipped in from other planets. It's all
There
coming from
is
you.
no new matter that's being created. It's all just being transformed. The
Yeah,
energy, right?
that's a
And
good point.
so I think people get into a state where they develop a blind spot where they live in. People are living in their own blind spot because they're so focused on all of these other things and attractions or distractions around them in the world. Got me talking to my hands. I'm so into it. And it's like just being able, like, just imagine you're standing behind yourself, hiding like a little child, with like, you can't see me, you can't see me, and then you fall out of heart disease, of cancer, of some sort of illness or debility, and they're wondering, oh man, they were so productive, but they fell out because they never looked at their tank constantly draining. They never stopped to say, they couldn't see themselves, right? And there's a real, like, that's something, I say a more extreme case, but there are some people who are living in their own blind spot and don't know it and can't see it. They see everything but themselves. Well, I have to do this and I have to do that. Where did you learn that? That you have to do that? Where did you make that agreement with yourself? Well, I always saw such and such and such, and so I believe. It starts with your belief.
Yo, ask people when they say something like that. Ask them, say, where did you buy that belief? And
Where?
more importantly, do they have a return policy?
I love that. I love that.
You can have that one, bro.
But that's one of the first stages, though, in my coaching problem is helping people to rebuild a new belief system that includes them in the main focus point. So instead of walking in front of yourself, you standing behind yourself and directing your path like a third person. It's like, oh, okay, no, turn left, turn right, go here, go there. Oh, you know what? Your energy's low, recharge. You know, one of the things that led into this conversation was what would our lives look like if we recharged ourselves as often as we recharge our phones? And I literally use my phone as a measure of my own energy meter. Like when I look at my phone and it's on 41% and I've already recharged it once from 28 to 76 in a day, that tells me what kind of day I had, because I use this resource to offload a lot of what's on my brain. There's constant connection and communication between me and this device or these devices, right? And when I'm not able to be tethered somewhere where I'm recharging, right? Let me simplify when you leave your home and you don't have a car charger everywhere that you go, when you don't have a U charger, if you're not being charged up everywhere you go, guess what? Your battery's draining. See, Maurice, earlier you said something to the effect of, that there's some people who that they're thinking about work when they're at home and thinking about home when they're at work. See, I brought my work home because I can stay charged up here. Okay. And guess what? Anywhere I can go, I can make it home and bring work. Now, granted, there's some things that I just went on a trip and, me and my partner went north and I went south. And I was like, man, it would be so good for us to be together because I'd be charging a little more. Okay. But for so many people, they live in their own blind spot. Right. And so taking ownership starts with first recognizing what are your values? What are your beliefs? Okay. And then and what is your vision for yourself? Who you're becoming and who you're not becoming. I'm giving away the goods right here. This is premium coaching stuff right there. This is what they pay me for right now. Okay. don't want to go too far off the path though. But it really requires some work. And one of the beautiful things, one of the best things a coach ever said to me is that we need other people, because no one can see our we can't see our own blind spots. We need other people looking at us constantly. One of my aims over the last 15 years in my personal development journey has been to fill in as many of my blind spots with the people around me. And as I've grown into the awareness, man, that space has shrunk. And the more I get to know myself and grow into new spaces, guess what? My new blind spots appear. So it's a constant work on self, like what Majida just mentioned, to keep you in focus.
Mm-hmm.
To keep you in focus. And so one of and I'll just address this last thing. You mentioned people who are constantly on the go and feel like they're burning out from feeling like they always need to, they always got to be on, right?
It's the feeling of burnout, being on the go all of the time, doing all of that stuff
And
that
so
Monty's talking about.
In the flight of
everything that she named was necessary.
So there's this behavioral assessment called the DISC, right? Where it identifies 4 different qualities, behavioral qualities of people. Those that are decisive, interactive, like so they like people, right? Supportive and kind of cautious, right? And there's certain types of people who are really good at tasks. Those high D's, decisive types, and those high cautious types, right? Who good at planning and systems and things like that. And on the other side, you got supportive people and interactive people who are really good with people. And every one of us shows up naturally in some areas. That's when we're just allowed to be us and we don't feel any pressure to perform. We can simply be, like Majida was talking, that's living, right? Living in our natural. But there's another side where when we feel like people are watching us, when we're constantly under surveillance, if you will, so either from a child or from a boss or from a spouse or partner,
or
right?
from being raised in the era, or from being raised in the era of social media.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's
When we constantly feel
watching.
when we feel like there's eyes on us, we may find ourselves acting or behaving out of our adaptive nature, which oftentimes drains us. It's not sustainable because it's not what naturally charges us up. Being in your natural state is like a water wheel. It's like just living off natural energy. It's like, oh, I got air to breathe, and you're just flowing, right? But put the wrong fuel in your body, put yourself in the wrong environment, and you're operating adaptively, then your energy begins to drain a little bit, and it can feel stressful. Like, I want to just quit out of here because I can't be myself. Yeah. So that's another side. That's another side where you just can't be yourself when you feel like you're constantly under surveillance. That people do feel pressure from their children, from their spouses or partners, from their bosses or those who they serve, right? To be somebody that they're naturally not. And why? For money? For power? For fame? What's the purpose?
I think that's a great point. You know, when you spoke about knowing what charges you, I think that'd be a great question for all of us to answer. Like, what charges you? And awareness of that can help you to set boundaries.
Absolutely.
And I have to give an example. Like, I this week had a interaction with an individual that I felt became somewhat toxic, and so it was to the point where, like, I was anxious about like answering my phone. Like my phone was in my pocket and it rang, and the anxiety of thinking that it was this person helped me to realize that like I don't need to communicate with them on the phone. Period. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to communicate with you. I can email you. We can communicate through that, but I don't need to like subject myself to, you know, the barrage of comments and, you know, being hammered and like I don't have to accept that because I can work in evidence that I can work and communicate with anybody else. But if I feel anxiety, and it ain't your fault, but like my interactions with you have created a level of anxiety to where like I feel like if I pick up the phone, I'm not being heard. I'm going to be, you know, criticized or put down, or like nothing I do is right. Like, nope. We can keep this strictly in writing. Ain't there's no room for like
Like you don't have access to me like that anymore.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't allow that access. And truth be told, like I did this on my job. So this ain't even in a personal relationship. Like at work, I talked to other people. I'm like the way it was just like I don't understand what's going on. And a couple coworkers was like, yeah, such and such. They if a interaction with a individual becomes, I think the word is contentious. Don't quote me on that. But if it gets to that point, he just stops answering their phone, and he makes them send them an email. Like that's the only way you can communicate with me, and I'll respond through email. But like, I'm not going to allow access. And I was like, oh, if it's good for him, it's good enough for me.
Amen.
I'm taking a page out of his book to conserve my own energy, because literally one day, like it completely changed my whole disposition, like for the rest of the afternoon, because I'm like reflecting back on this. I had to like release it. I'm telling everybody about this situation because of how it's affecting me. Like it's too much energy. Like you're taking too much of my energy.
Oh,
and what
yeah.
ET said, energy ain't free.
Oh.
So unless you fit in to pay to be, you know, like it was so much to the point where like he asked the question, like this is work, right? Like I don't get like excited about stuff, right? You know, like whatever happens, happens. His comment to me was, am I bothering you? Cause like I'm just like chilling on the phone, like I don't know what else to tell you. Like, you just sound like bothering you. You know, like I ain't got no more answers. I put everything in the email. If you don't want to read the email or accept what I said in the email, there's nothing I can do for you. Like that's the reality. I can't do anything to change that. I'm doing the best that I can. If that ain't good enough, I don't know what to tell you.
That's crazy. That's funny. Y'all do realize that tonight we're talking about selfishness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all do realize that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's important to put selfishness. I think it's important to
in this
put
context,
selfishness
yes,
in its proper perspective. Exactly.
I do.
I think it's important to do that because again, we've all been taught subconsciously and unconsciously to not be selfish, and there's merit in that. You need to serve others 100%. But on the flip side of the coin, selfishness has merit and it has benefit. And there are times in your life that you're going to have to be selfish if you want to get something done. Like it's necessary.
Yeah.
What does it say? It says self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's a bar.
So
and I would say
selfish, you know.
It doesn't hurt to be selfish, but it doesn't require that you be self-serving alone.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
They mean two
and
different
that's
things.
Where and that's where a lot of people connect. Like, oh, you selfish, you're self-serving alone. You're only self-serving is what
you
they may
break
be
that
seeing.
word down. Selfish. We know what ish means because we've looked at it before.
It means like yeah.
Exactly. And then we look at self. So I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Like I interpret that word to mean I'm like myself. I am being myself. That's how I interpret that word, selfish. I am being like myself.
I love that.
And you're not, and watch this. Here's the flip side of that coin. When you're not being selfish is when you're thinking about others. So that is when you're not being like yourself.
Adaptive.
So it's just, to me, it's just an interesting spin on that word, selfish. Like I said,
And it definitely speaks to like how we associate certain words, or we give certain connotations to words to sometimes twist their meaning. Like we're not even referring to the definition. I remember something as simple as this, like the word pretty. I've just never been a fan of calling somebody pretty. I'm good with beautiful, cute, but pretty was just, and when you looked up the word, like it wasn't a very flattering definition. But people use, oh, she's such a pretty girl. I'm like, we ain't on that pretty.
I felt the same way about cute. You know what I'm saying? Cute. You don't call me cute.
Right. Like it almost diminishes your value. Let me pull this up.
That's cool. Why are you coming up, man? I'll reset the room, man. You are listening to the most fire digital show, the Seer Mastermind Group. This is our story, our journey, our way. Tonight, we are breaking down self-care, self-help, and recharging, right? Setting some boundaries so that you are taking care of you. Let's keep the selfish talk going.
So, look, this is the adjective for pretty. Attractive in a delicate way without being truly beautiful or handsome.
Oh,
that's disgusting.
Damn. That's a messed up definition, yo. They messed it up with the without part.
Without being, right? But like, that's what the word means. To a moderately high degree, fairly. That's the.
It sounds like somebody wear too much makeup, got too much fake stuff on.
Here's the noun, right? I gave you the adjective. I just gave you the adverb. To a moderately high degree, fairly. The noun, an attractive thing, typically a pleasing but unnecessary accessory.
Interesting.
Like words have meaning.
Yeah, that's not flattering at all.
That's fake.
Sounds like it's real fake.
Fake.
It's an illusion of beauty.
Yeah.
With no substance.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, for everybody out there feeling pretty right now.
That's crazy. No substance. That's the illusion of something real.
Is that why TLC said unpretty? Right? Like
that's crazy.
I'll choose unpretty at this point, right?
That's crazy.
But I think they were really talking about being pretty, right? You could buy your hairs if your hair if it won't grow. You could, something with your nose if they say so. And all the makeup, yeah. But if you don't know you, if you ain't selfish, is what I'm hearing. It make you feel real unbeautiful, right? It'll make you feel real pretty, is what I'm hearing. It won't unpretty. That they need to unpretty. But no, that's powerful.
Really,
that's powerful, man. And like you said, words do have meaning, and not just meaning, but like they have energy, they carry vibration, like words will take you somewhere, or they will keep you from going somewhere. As Maurice said earlier, where did you buy that belief that you were pretty? Where did you buy that belief? Like, and do they have a return policy? Listen, for all of those that are tuning in tonight, man, this is probably one of the best calls that we've had on here. And I would highly encourage you to listen to it again, tap in with Majida to find out how she's transforming herself. Is tap in with Maurice, to understand how he's putting his family and himself first. And definitely, shameless plug. Come see Coach Bacardi, get yourself in order. If you're feeling any way overwhelmed, if you're feeling any way out of focus in your own life. So as we kind of closing out the conversation today, I love to hear from you all, because you shared so much wisdom, man, and I'm feeding off of it. I probably haven't taken notes like this in weeks from these calls, and they've been great calls, great conversations going on. But I like for you to share a little something about when it comes to getting proper rest, right? And I'll put this in the context. Even in just about every religious doctrine, it talks about our creator, God, taking a day of rest when he created the universe. And somehow we think we don't need it. We don't make rest a priority. We don't make that recharge a priority. We've been conditioned maybe in this society or others that we got to hustle, we got to grind, we got to go. And if we're not being productive, we're not living, we're not, we putting on this pretty life, but it's ugly inside, right? So I want to really hear from you all, like from a accountability and commitment standpoint. And what will you do this year in order to prioritize your own rest, self-care, restoration, recovery, right? How are you going to make that a part of your life moving forward? And maybe share with others, like, where does it fit in your values? Marjita, you've gone off a lot on this today, but
so in terms of proper rest, like I shared earlier, just from me eating the proper foods, my rest improved. It's not the quantity of rest that I got, but the quality of rest. Like my body was well rested after 4 hours, right? So like I'm burned out today because I've been up since 2:30, and it's however many hours later, 20 hours later, right? Like I've been up for 20 hours straight after 4 hours of rest. But normally I'm in the bed by like 8, 9 o'clock, and then I'm up around 3 or 4 lately. But like I feel well rested in just that short period of time. So yeah, I think it definitely starts with the fuel. The fuel that you're putting in your body will help you get the proper rest. So, and it's not just proper rest. The food help with better clarity, and
that's big.
Decreasing brain. Like I can think clearer, right? Like ideas are coming to me. I'm having dreams that I don't normally have, just from eating better, right? Just clearing out the junk and putting
some food with life in it, right?
Yeah,
inside you. And what I'm hearing from you is you're making quality a standard.
Absolutely.
Quality in what you eat, quality in how you think with more clarity, quality in rest as a result, and in this process of prioritizing you. Like, I want to come back to this thing that you said earlier. Like, I will not sacrifice my life for my children, which is really counter the social narrative. Like, oh man, if something, I would throw myself in front of the bullet for the child. And like, I felt from you was like, that baby got to take that one, which is like, that's crazy.
Now I still take a bullet for him, but
it ain't gonna take you out. The bullet ain't stronger than my God. You know what I'm saying? Like, no weapon for him.
Coach Rose says it this way: most people will live for their families or their children. I mean, most people will die for their families or their children, but will they live for them? When I'm focused on living for them, like while I'm here, I want, like, and I used to have that mindset that like I would do anything for my, like I would, but like, let me live for them. Let me show them what living looks like. But I can't show them what living looks like if I'm surviving. I can't show them what thriving looks like if I'm just getting by. So what Mickey Wynn would always say, how long should you not know how to do something? Like, if you don't like where you are, change it. Like, you have the capacity to change.
I was gonna say schedule a call with me. If you don't like where you are, hit your boy up. Drop it in the chat. Discover H2G.
Mess. But yeah, like, you can change it, right? Like, we're, as human beings, we have the capacity to think and to reason and to understand and to change, right? Like, we don't have to operate like animals on instinct alone, right? Like, it's important to use your instinct and intuition in certain scenarios, but like, you can design the life that you want. You don't have to live by default. You don't have to just accept your circumstances. It says you could be the architect of your destiny, not the victim of your circumstances. Something like that. And so I just choose not to be a victim. I, like you said, take full ownership of where I am today. And something that I shared with another circle of mine was the idea that, like, I desire peace. Like, I got a couple vision boards in my living room, and peace of mind is all over both of them. Peace of mind, peace of mind, peace of mind. And whatever I need to do to help me achieve that, like, but it starts with having peace with myself. I can't be at peace with myself if my heart and my mind are forever at variance, right? Like, I'm thinking that I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I'm not taking the necessary action to do it, right? Like, what they say, a double-minded man is in all of his ways. I'm not quoting that right, but you know what I'm saying. You laughing?
Good stuff. What about you, Maurice?
Yeah, me, man. I always like to throw something opposite, right? So again, as I'm listening to Majida speak, it's interesting, man. Life, I'm gonna say again, I just keep thinking life is not necessarily, and I'm not about to disagree with anything Majida said, by the way, but life is not black and white. Again, we try to put things into categories. This is how it works. That's how it works. But like, their story is not your story, right? Like, just because it works that way for most people don't mean it's gonna work that way for you, right? So just throw that out there as a little preface. As I'm listening to Majida, the thing that I'm thinking about, the kind of the other side of it, or another side of it, is like, when my son passed away, I found myself saying several times, for one reason or another, the thoughts of Allah do not die, sleep, or rest. And what I meant by that was, like, things are always in motion. Stagnation really doesn't exist when you think about it, especially from a spiritual aspect, right? Like, life is always wanting more or fuller expression of itself, right? Nothing in nature is standing still. It's always moving, right? And I'm bringing that up because that kind of counters the definition of the word rest, which is to be still and do nothing, right? But when we look at the closest example that we have in physical existence to how non-physical works, we see nature. We don't see anything sitting at rest, right? So I kind of found myself saying that, and I got a lot of pushback from that when my son passed away. From people, nobody verbalized their pushback, but I felt pushback. One of the reasons is because people thought that, God rests, and I know that, you know what I mean. So, but at the same note, it's like, what felt right was the thoughts of God do not rest. Nothing is still. Nothing is standing. Everything is always in motion, right? So we got to find a way to flow with that. So again, nothing in life is black and white from my perspective. So while motion and constantly being in motion is a part of how life exists, we do got to find time to do nothing and to rest. You know what I mean? On one note, I'm gonna say I'm a little weak in this area, meaning that like me putting in time to rest and relax is kind of part of my psyche. It's part of what I do. I need to do better at maximizing my energy. I need to be better at that. I do participate in things that drain my energy, discussions that drain my energy, activities that drain my energy. That's a part of relaxing as well, maintaining your energy, right? But that just says that I'm listening to Majida think, Majida talk, and this whole conversation. I'm thinking of what the overarching thought that was my life when my son passed away, which was the thoughts of God, Allah, don't rest. So like we gotta, that's called going with the flow of things. Like we need to always be in motion. We need to always be in motion. Hey, when you feel like you need to take a break, take a damn break. Basically, that's what I'll say. Take a break. Do nothing. If you feel like you need to do nothing. You know what I mean? And doing nothing is not doing nothing, but thinking and feeling the anxiety of not doing something. But some of us take time to do nothing, but we worry that it's like, damn, I need to be doing something. That's not really doing nothing. That's not really rest at that point, So all those things are relative. I'm not an expert or anything. That's just some of the thoughts that popped into my mind as we having this discussion.
I appreciate it.
I just want to give a quick example. Like I actually last Saturday, earlier last week, had caught up with a friend I hadn't talked to in a while, and like we scheduled to get together, and I intended to spend just a couple hours. I dropped my children off at my grandma's. I was gonna spend a couple hours. 5 hours later, right? Like, and I was like this. I was fully present for those 5 hours. Yeah. I wasn't checking my phone or and like I put my phone like normally you put it in your pocket, or I had like dropped it in my purse. So I didn't hear a ring or nothing. I'm just sitting there engaged and conversing and vibing and whatever. And when I went to check my phone, I'm like, dang, I done missed 4, 5 calls, like but it felt good to like disconnect. So like, why do I have to
just turn it off? It feels so good to do that.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, like with the situation at work, like I blocked this individual. Like they cannot call, like it goes straight to voicemail. And like I'm unapologetic about it, because it's like if anybody wants to question me on it, like you can't tell me how to feel. And if this situation was making me feel anxious and like I'm hesitant to check my email, or I don't want to like pick up my phone because I just don't want to see who's calling because it could be this person. Like I don't need that stress, right? I don't need to be in that adaptive state. Like, what is he going to say, or how's it, like how am I going to respond? And like if I can't just be transparent and honest with you and like that be good enough, I don't need to talk to you. Like
that's real.
It's just the conversation is not healthy, right? Like it's not productive.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to listen. All right, we don't need to talk.
Oh man. And I just, me being a scientist on this space as well, along with Majida, I looked up a few definitions of rest, and one of them is ceasing motion and activity. But on the other side of it, what occurs during the process of rest, things don't stop, come to a still. Actually, that's when certain after doing exercise, I was just reading this, doing exercise, your body creates your microscopic tears in your muscles, and during rest your body actively repairs it, right? So rest is not stopping or stillness, but it's action of recovery.
Exactly.
It allows for recovery. It allows for healing, right? And so recognizing that healing is essential, lest you have a death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? 1,000 microscopic tears in your world that you're not actively repairing regularly, right? And only the creator can instantaneously heal and destroy. And granted, we got some creative power to destroy, right? But that process of healing, I ain't seen nobody but Wolverine and other fictitious characters be able to accelerate that healing factor. So we got to be patient with the recovery while we're putting so much energy toward the destructive parts of building. Like building takes work, it takes effort, and there's a cost to it. There's a price to pay. It may be small, it may feel microscopic, but consistently ignored over time, it can tear you apart. It'll break you down.
Yeah.
It will break you down. And then you wonder why you can't stand anymore on what you used to be able, because you haven't repaired, you haven't recovered yourself actively. So I encourage each and every one to understand, to learn, to get support and help on your active recovery daily. Make active recovery a part of your daily life. Understand your sleep cycles and how much your body needs to operate at its highest. Take a look at the different foods that you're eating and find, I just learned this past year how your blood type can have an impact on your diet, because of how we've evolved over time. So I'm being a little more intentional about understanding how my blood, which runs a whole lot of things in my body, is fueled, is positively charged, right? How do I get every bit of me, every molecule of me working at its optimum, including the parts that are part of my healing? So make rest a priority. Rest doesn't mean stagnation. Rest means recovery. So be active in your recovery. Be active in your rescue. And as they often say on every airplane that you get on, put your mask on first. Right. You got to put your mask on first before you help anybody else. So I hope you guys. Hey, you know what? And that's the kind of call we done had tonight. Hot like a bonfire. Okay, this is the Seer Mastermind Show. This is our story, our journey, our way with Maurice. We are entrepreneurs building generational wealth and legacies for our family. We are creating trust amongst each other to be able to build trust to lead this family down the line, down the road. So I'm so happy and grateful to have you guys in my life, man. You all have been guiding lights in different areas of your life, and I'm really, even personally, now beginning to feel as if I'm bringing more of what I imagine I could to this call. Like y'all still crushing it. I ain't even gonna lie, y'all crushing it in my eyes, and it's encouraging, it's inspiring to me. And I'm happy to bring like everything that I can bring to these calls, man. I'm enjoying hosting with you all. I'm enjoying learning and recapping and making the small adjustments week after week. And just happy to be able to have this conversation with you all. Trust that we can continue to add value to the quality of people's lives. That's it.
Sidebar, yeah. Not only are we leaving a legacy of wealth, but a legacy of health.
Of health as well, yes. Right? We're living for the city. All right. I knew this was gonna be a 2-hour call. Y'all fired, man. Hey, next time we come back, man, I'm looking forward to hearing the updates and seeing you guys, seeing my brother, seeing my sister really making major moves in this journey, man. I'm excited. Stay 100%. Tuned. All right. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Peace.